Now, first, fast, and to the point. This is KATU News.
The search for a dangerous man comes to a crashing end in the parking lot of an Oregon Coast hotel. Good evening, I'm Paul Lindman in for Steve Dunn.
And I'm Natalie Marmee, and welcome to KATU News at 5. At this time last night, he was wanted for 2 carjackings, shooting at police, then leading officers on a high-speed chase down I-5.
Now the manhunt for Richard Smith is over. KATU's Amy Morrow is here with details on how police caught their man and why he still may be dangerous.
That's right, Paul and Natalie. Richard Smith was arrested this afternoon on the Oregon coast. His run from the law came to an end in the parking lot at the Lincoln City Shiloh Inn, the one right next door to the Chinook Winds Casino. Officers say just as they showed up, Smith tried to get away in his red Mazda Protege. An officer rammed the vehicle to stop him. You can see that worked. Smith was then arrested and taken to the Lincoln County Jail. Oregon State Police say Smith made what they call a veiled threat about wiring one of the hotel rooms. While they're checking that out, it's apparent they don't think there's much reason to believe him. The hotel has not been evacuated, and the bomb squad has not been called in. All in all, though, a dramatic ending to the last 24 hours. A chase, a search, a manhunt. None of it surprises the family of convicted bank robber Richard Smith.
Well, if he goes back in now, he's in for life. And I just figure he doesn't want to be in there for life. And he just figures that he's going to go out.
Police went looking for Smith at his job here at this Wilsonville towing company. They say Smith had violated his probation by refusing to take a DNA test. They also say when they approached Smith, he pulled out a handgun and the shooting started. Smith got away in this Camaro, then carjacked a woman driving a pickup truck and held her at gunpoint. When that truck broke down, he committed another carjacking at a Woodburn Jack-in-the-Box. At some point, police say Smith checked into this Wilsonville motel. His family says he was a desperate man trying to avoid jail.
Long story, he just come to the end of his rope, I reckon. I don't know.
Smith was living in Salem, just 2 doors down from his sister. The landlord says he rented this home with his wife, a son, and a daughter for more than 2 years. Then a few weeks ago, he was evicted for failing to pay his rent.
He was a very friendly guy, real easy to get along with, but you couldn't believe a word he said.
But no one knows for sure what made him stop paying the rent and then go on the run. U.S. Marshals say along with the probation violation, Smith is now also a suspect in a Salem bank robbery. That robbery happened Saturday.
So we're thinking the hotel wiring situation is just a hoax, not going to...
That's what it appears to be at this point. Again, it doesn't appear to be any reason for concern.
Amy, thanks.
Other news now. A 14-year-old boy is under arrest on the Oregon coast, accused in the murder of a Coos County woman. 14-year-old Raymond Perkins was arrested shortly after midnight last night in connection with the murder of abandoned psychologist. The body of Judith Ellman was found Sunday on a beach near the Seven Devil Wayside area. An Oregon State Police sergeant says the boy charged with Ellman's murder did not know her and called it a, quote, crime of opportunity. We will have a live report from Bandon coming up at 5:30.
Police are looking to question a man involved in an accidental shooting in Gresham this afternoon. It happened on the first floor of this apartment complex on East Burnside. Police say a man on the first floor accidentally fired his gun at the ceiling. The bullet passed through a bed on the second floor and hit 23-year-old Justin Harris. Harris was transported to OHSU and was later treated and released. Detectives say the man who fired the gun fled the scene.
Runaway truck raced down Burnside this morning, crashing into several cars and a store at Henry Teeley Square before flipping over. KATU's Dan Christopher joins us live from the scene of this morning's action. Dan?
But Natalie, this is where it all happened, and as one witness put it, who is also a truck driver, when you're headed downhill and your brakes go out, your truck turns into nothing more than a speeding bullet. Well, I can tell you that speeding bullet, loaded with tons of bark dust, was headed for a very busy intersection.
The crash of this truck into a car, then into a building, then into 3 more cars was bad enough. But people here are still talking about how bad it could have been.
If we hadn't received a truck today, we would have been in there and we would be pretty much demolished.
Jamie Yates was one of a half-dozen cost-plus employees unloading new merchandise at the back of the store when the runaway truck, loaded with 44,000 pounds of bark dust, slammed into the front office.
It was a really loud crash, and I just ran to try to find everybody in the store and just hope that nobody was hurt.
I'm thinking it's our lucky day because nobody got hurt.
Store employees were okay, but on the street, 6 people were hurt, hospitalized with minor injuries, including Charles Jackson, the driver of the truck that had lost its brakes and raced a half mile down Burnside.
He was honking at us. He was on the air horn honking. He flew by me just smoking. And
Richard Meller and his partner Jim Fry would ordinarily have been in the truck with Jackson, but at the last minute decided to drive a car.
if I hadn't taken my car, yeah, all 3 of us would have been in there. And I think one of us, or both of us, would have been dead. As soon as he hit that building, both of us would have been out the windshield.
Brian Byers, who saw it all, considers the bark dust truck driver a hero.
He made the heroic decision to swerve his truck into the side of the building to try to slow it down. With that kind of weight that we're dealing with, he would have taken out at least 15 cars easy, and unfortunately probably would have resulted in fatalities.
But most of those who were injured in this mishap were taken to local hospital for observation, treated for minor injuries. The driver of the truck, who won't soon forget his harrowing ride, decided he didn't care to talk to the media. And I can't say that I blame him. Paul and Natalie, back to you.
What a morning. All right, Dan Christopher Live, thank you very much.
In other news, 3 Oregon state agencies are launching an investigation in the hope of recovering millions of dollars the state lost in the Enron collapse.
2 on Your Side reporter Ed Teachout is live at our Salem Bureau with details on this. Ed?
Oregon is so uniquely impacted by the Enron collapse, the lawmakers today say they're opening up a brand new investigation, totally different than any other investigation into the Enron collapse. Now, this afternoon, Attorney General Hardy Myers announced he's looking into whether state securities and racketeering laws have been violated in the collapse. Now, while Enron is headquartered in Houston, Oregon's Portland General Electric is Enron's most valuable asset in its bankruptcy proceedings. Myers says a new investigation needs to be opened with Oregon's Treasury and Investment Council.
Enron's financial statements were manipulated for the purpose of inflating the company's stock value. And based on this alone, we think there's unquestionably enough evidence to convince us, our 3 offices, that we should proceed with a RICO investigation.
Myers says he's not sure he can recover any of the $80 million state workers lost in their retirement fund when Enron collapsed. Now, while the investigation is focusing on Enron, Myers says the state will be looking at other people involved with Enron. And he specifically, Paul, mentioned Arthur Anderson's office in Portland. Back to you.
Ed Teachout in Salem tonight. Ed, thanks. The parents of 2 boys killed in a pipeline explosion in Washington state will get a $75 million settlement. The parents say they'll use the money to keep other families safe. Olympic Pipeline and other defendants will pay the $75 million. Back in 1999, this was the scene here after a line owned by Olympic ruptured and sparked an explosion.